Everyone here knows I'm more of a Star Trek fan than a Star Wars fan. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Star Wars. I think the original trilogy was magical, but I'm more of a Trek guy. And the philosophy of that franchise just speaks more to my core as a human being. I believe in infinite diversity, in infinite combinations. Every week I got to go where no man had gone before, telling me stories about what's wrong in our current society. So I was sad when there was a long hiatus after Enterprise stopped. But Star Trek came back to TV, and now Disney is bringing Star Wars to TV. And I must say, Star Wars is doing it better. And that is fascinating. Hello, and welcome to the Review of Champions. It's time to talk about the Boba Fett Chapter 2, the Tribes of Tatooine. With me are Lokismom.
Hi there.
Voice only 2 for the first time, our Stanton.
Yeah, hi there, guys. Sorry, I regret the voice thing. I'm a little under the weather, and I look terrible, so sorry.
Mm-hmm. And the best of us all, Mr. Taylor first.
Hello, everybody.
Before we start, I would like to ask you all to hit that like and subscribe button. Maybe join our forum on sakar.freeforums.net. It's a nice forum with nice people. You get nice discussions there. And if you want, you can be on the podcast or review. We're open to everybody. Just try it out. We're going to talk spoilers. So if you haven't seen the episode yet, go check it out and then come back to the video. Well, let's do a little quick round. Taylor, what do you think? The Tribes of Tatooine.
I thought it was a great episode. I love how Star Wars often gets inspiration from other IPs, especially the classics. And there were two classic movies that really jumped out at me as I was watching the flashback scenes of this particular episode. One of them, Lokismom actually already mentioned on the board. That, of course, was Lawrence of Arabia, which, of course, is one of the greatest movies ever made. And especially the scene where Boba Fett is getting his Tusken robes, and also the aftermath of the train scene were very reminiscent of that. And the other one was a movie from 1970 titled A Man Called Horse, which starred Richard Harris, which is a Western, which is another great movie. And I definitely saw a lot of influence from that movie. So using those influences and the modern technology and the sci-fi Star Wars universe, they put together a heck of a great episode.
Well, Lokismom, what did you think?
I totally agree. Lawrence really just popped out at me, and I didn't see The Man Called Horse so much, but I'll have to think about that a little bit when I do a rewatch on it. Overall, I thought it was very well done. Probably, I would say it was more, but it was a little bit better than the first episode. Simply because I think it was just more concentrated on the flashback scenes. Because I think when we get to the contemporary scenes where he's becoming the crime lord, it kind of starts to drag it down a little bit. But I did notice there was a lot of the flashback for this particular episode. So yeah, it was. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, yeah, me too, actually. Arch.
Oh, this is exactly what I want to see out of Star Wars. I was enthralled with everything from there was politics involved with the main characters and the Hutts trying to figure out what was who was in charge. I thought that was amazing. I thought the action was like incredible at several different points, and the history. I also just love the environment setting. There's so many like great establishing shots. They'd fly over like where his territory was, and they'd fly over with the Tusken Raiders. Exploring the whole world is what I really love about these shows, along with the politics, along with the action. I thought it was all great, top tier.
Yeah. This week's episode really elevated the show to a higher level. I wasn't too keen on the first one, but now I'm fully invested. I really liked it. Oh, Lokismom, were there some things you didn't like, and just talk about what you did like?
what I didn't like. Can't really pinpoint anything that I did specifically I didn't like.
You don't have to.
I don't have to.
You
Okay,
can,
well,
if you just
I'm
have
gonna say
pure
that
love,
I-
then show the love.
I can't say that it was flawless, but offhand, I mean, nothing jumped out at me that I didn't. I said, oh, I wish they hadn't done that or something like that. I mean, I just overall, one thing I'll kind of bring it up here real quick is I didn't mean to read the review specifically. I just clicked on it when I was going through my computer thing, and there was one review, and they had to bring up the fact that, of course, you know, they acknowledged that it was just a Western, basically, but they said, oh, and then we have the Tusken Raiders, and they're supposed to be the downtrodden, so and so and so and so, and of course, and they sort of fell into that, academia type criticism, which I think is so ludicrous when it comes to, you know, these types of stories, because they're not supposed to be that deep. But I'll just put that out there. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Oh, I can agree with that. I mean, in the end, it's all entertainment, and it should entertain. That's
Right.
that's the purpose. And of course, if it has a message, then all the better for it. But it isn't the main purpose. It needs to entertain. Taylor.
Yeah, I liked everything. In the current timeline scenes, I liked the meeting with the mayor. Thought it was very interesting. Again, as Lokismom mentioned, the politics going on there, and then of course the arrival of the two Hutt twins and them claiming. So they're setting up, you know, the rest of the story there, and they established you can't just kill them. Apparently, there's rules out there, or there would be repercussions if you just kill them. So there's going to have to be some planning and some strategy going into this if Boba Fett is going to assume the throne here on Tatooine. And then in the flashback scenes, well, the flashback scenes were, you know, the majority of the episode, and they were, you know, very interesting with just the learning more about the Tusken Raiders and the growing respect between the two of them, the Tusken Raiders and Boba Fett. And then, of course, he helps them out with the train, the desert space train, driving through their territory, shooting at them. And it's kind of interesting that he went to a diner and beat up a space alien biker gang and took their bikes. And he's pretty cocky if he's thinking him and some Tusken Raiders on 6 bikes are going to take out a train full of armed guards like that. But they did it. It wasn't easy, but it was really great action scene. That whole attack on the train and the whole fight there, super action scene. And then of course he's pretty much established himself then as a you know, a member of the tribe. He got his robes. They helped him forge his weapon, whatever that traditional club is called that the Tuskens use. So what I'm interested in is just how much longer we're going to be having these flashback scenes. It may go through the whole series, but I'm trying to remember from Mandalorian. There's not that much time. Like, this isn't like years in the past that we're looking at. It's a few months back, maybe. I'm trying to remember the exact timeline, but I'm really fired up about the rest of the series.
Okay, yeah. It was indeed a great action scene. Arch.
Yeah, there's almost too much to talk about for me on this one. Taylor mentioned several scenes. The bar fight was amazing. The meeting with the mayor was like intense, and just the way he's acting all of this like really brings out, like, you know, the intensity, the seriousness, the I don't know, just the determination of like all of these characters. I really feel it from them. So I think it's incredible. The things that really stood out to me here were establishing the Sand People and a culture of how they live. I thought that was extremely cool, just to live amongst them for, like, you know, quite some period of time and figure out how they work. And the idea that I almost wanted to know, like, how they got to be the sort of wild people who live in the middle of nowhere. Like, my Star Wars mind is wondering, you know, is there an origin to that? Like, what were they thousands of years ago? Were they like more of a part of society, and somehow this branch of people broke out and lived? Like, I don't know. I'm just curious what their history might be now. Like, that's it. I felt that deep about it. But I don't know. This episode was two. It was really 2 episodes. The ending with the Hutts, kind of at the end of the first half of the episode before they started into mostly flashbacks. that was really cool to me. Like I now trust all of these shows to come with some sort of big impact that you weren't expecting. I had no idea the Hutts would be involved like that, but the way they set that up and staged it with the drums pounding down the street, and they really play up the, hey, this is going to be awesome sort of aspect to it. And even though there was no action there, just the dialogue between them was really intense. I loved it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Taylor, while Arch was talking, I looked it up for you. Those sticks are called Gatherfee or Gaffy sticks. Then you know. You had a follow-up.
Yep, I remember Luke Skywalker actually saying that when in the original movie, when the Empire tried to make it look like that the Tusken Raiders had taken out the Jawa mover. Mm-hmm. He said, "There's these gaffy sticks or whatever they're called were laying around." So yeah, there's a callback for you. But while Arch was talking, it reminded me of something. He was talking about the Tuskens and who they are. If I'm remembering correctly, in this episode, the Tuskens referred to everyone else as off-worlders or something like that. So I'm thinking the Tuskens may be native to Tatooine, and most of the others are people who came from other planets, which I think is interesting.
Yeah. That is an interesting history.
Yeah, that could very well be. I mean, there are an awful lot of species on Tatooine and intelligent life forms, as they would say in my favorite show, Star Trek. And well, usually on planets that's not the case. There's usually one intelligent life form very dominant. But yeah. Yeah, the train scene Taylor was already talking about. That was awesome. Don't you think so, Lokismom?
Well, I think the Tuskens are probably native. They may be the ones that are native to the planet because they know the planet. They know how to live off of it. So I'm going to assume that they're the natives of Tatooine, and then all the other folks or all the other species that are coming in, intelligent species, are off-worlders, so to speak. So just my thoughts on that. I really did like that badass Wookiee came out. That was he wasn't on the screen too long, but that was just a kick to see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You want me to tell you? You want me to give you feedback you'll find ridiculous?
Okay.
A little the enthusiasm. Wellabers will like this. So as excited as I felt about it, this episode, that's how I felt about Welliber's favorite episode of The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 2, The Passenger, which was the spider episode. And I know you don't like it, or I know it's not your favorite and you found it skippable, but the thing I'm talking about is just that this colony, I felt that the colony of spiders was like this colony of people. I know it's a different comparison, but like you're into this, I don't know, like existence and like, little society, in that case, bugs, but you stumbled across something that's real and happening on those planets, and that sort of discovering stuff that's going on in these worlds is what kind of excites me about it. So that's why I like that episode.
I get it. Yeah, I like the world building they are doing, actually. They really deepen those Tusken Raiders, those Sand people, and it brings a lot to the Star Wars lore, at least to me.
The Hutt was wiping the sweat off of himself with some type of animal.
Yeah.
That's a nice touch. That's just one of those little touches that Star Wars loves to put in,
I was actually constantly thinking, when is he gonna eat him?
Yeah, exactly.
But do we think something will we will get like less and less of flashback and more of what's going on at that moment in the contemporary timeline? I mean, with the Hutts and.
I mean, I think it's likely that the next episode will be more focused on the contemporary timeline. I mean, that's just a guess on how I think it'll flow.
I think so. I agree. I think they're going to go back and forth on which episode emphasizes what, but I do think it's going to be two parallel stories going like the whole way. I think each side of it's going to have a payoff. If I had to guess.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's really establishing that that Boba is he's a changed man. When he came up out of that, they refreshed him inside the creature, whatever he was in, up for a few minutes. And so you can sort of see that as a rebirth. You know, he was in sort of like inside the belly of the whale or whatever, and then he spewed back forth, and he's changing his attitude in some ways. And there was like the scene, I think it may have been in last week's episode, where he's looking at the whoever the thugs are that are harassing this guy that's stealing whatever out of his house, and you see him look away. You know, it's like he's in disgust at looking at this. So even though he's a criminal, I guess, he seems to have some honor, and he's rebuilding his honor through this rebirth with the Tuscans, and he's going through this sort of warrior journey type thing, whatever it is in their culture that they admire. They see that in him, and so they bring him into their clan, as it were.
Yeah.
So he's connected to these people now. He's in a way has become one of the Tuscans. So
Yeah.
he's going to see them as his special protectorate or something.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a payoff later in the show, no doubt. That those Tuscans will show up to help him, whatever, or he will get them to help him, no doubt. About those flashbacks, we've seen, of course, basically everything from Boba Fett from the moment he spotted the Mandalorian crossing on Tatooine with the suit, with the armor. So I think those flashbacks will bring us to that point or some sort. But he was still wearing the Tuscan robes at that moment. So I talk about Mandalorian season 1 episode. No, season 2 episode 1, I think. But I think that will conclude our review for episode 2, the Tribes of Tatooine, for the Book of Boba Fett. Before we finish, I would like to ask you all to hit that subscribe button and notification bell on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, like our Facebook page. Join the forum on Sakar. That way you will never miss us and we won't have to miss you. Bye.